Welcome to this Freeform 2026.1 new feature video covering our new Python API. The new Python scripting API expands automation beyond Dynabot's capabilities. Using Python, you can create and modify geometry, control objects in the project, and implement more advanced logic-based workflows. In this example, the mirrored pieces have the same names. What if there was an easy way to update all of the names on one side with the letter for left or right? First, let's see how to get information from the object list. This first line gets a reference to the object list, and this one returns the object IDs, or OIDs, of each item in the current selection. Finally, we loop over the list of selected items and get information about each one and print it to the Python console. Let's run this bit of code and see what happens with some objects selected in Freeform. Now to add some logic to the script. Using the name of the parent folder, we can determine left or right. Here we get the parent's OID and then the info about the object, but only the name. Down here we check if the name contains left or right and rename the piece accordingly. And here we are just telling the script to skip anything that's named an alignment piece. Back in Freeform, we'll select some objects and run the script. See? In an instant, all of the pieces are correctly renamed. The following scripts show a bit more of the power available to you using Python inside of Freeform. Because of the complexity, I'm going to highlight some of the functionality without breaking down the code. Here is an example that will generate a plane for all of the flat areas on a selected piece. This takes advantage of the Geomagick API, which is used inside of all of the Geomagick applications to do geometric analysis. This is a fibula that has been resected into multiple pieces. I will hide the pieces we're not going to use. Using the Mesh Merge feature, I'll combine these into a single mesh piece so that the script can analyze it all at once. Let's select the mesh and run the script to see what it can do. See that? In one operation, it created and fit planes to each flat area on that piece. We'll pop over here and take a peek at the script, and you'll see that this script uses the Geomagick API to perform some of the wizardry. The script itself is not that long or complex considering what it can accomplish. Finally, this example shows how you can combine Python and Dynabot to create a brand new tool in Freeform with a custom interface. A common feature request we've gotten is to make a tool that will perform surface deviation analysis. Again, taking advantage of the Geomagick API, this can be done. Let's see this in action. Here we have a very complex scan from one of our partners. It is amazing how much data was captured, but there's still a lot of areas that need to be created. Using the toolset in Freeform, this model was able to be sculpted and re-engineered. But for our Python example, we're going to perform comparative analysis on part of the original scan and part of the final sculpt to see how close they were. I separated the scan around the bagpipe's bag as well as the clay portion of the final sculpt. I will run this Dynabot, which runs a Python script for the computation. I can choose the pieces to compare by selecting one in the object list and then clicking the Set button in the Dynabar. The range is going to be the maximum distance from the reference surface the script will compare. Click Calculate, and in a moment we get back a colored mesh showing the deviation above and below the surface. You can even change the range and run it again to refine your results using the same inputs. This example was a combination of Python for the computation, Dynabot to provide the interface and pass data from the interface to Python, and a little bit of HTML and JavaScript for updating the interface. No external libraries were used to create this particular example. With all of this power, we can't wait to see some of the creations that you come up with now that you have access to these tools. Thanks for watching, and please visit hexagon.com to learn more about Geomagick Freeform.